So Yemane, could you tell us about where you were born and an introduction of your earlier life?
Yeah, I was born in 1949 in a small village called Tigrinya, which is around 5-6 miles west of the Barwa. A typical village, a typical growing up in a Eritrean highland village. At the age of 7, I started school in a nearby village called Adigada. Adigada. It's about a mile and a half from my village. I finished elementary school there, and then I went to the Barwa Middle School. From there, I went to San Giorgio High School, which is in Mandafara.
Mandafara, okay.
Yeah. But for my senior year, 12th grade, I got a cultural exchange scholarship to the United States.
Right.
I came to the United States, attended high school here, graduated, and went back into Ethiopia and attended the Haile Selassie University and graduated from there. So that's my early academic life.
Gotcha. So how was it like during your earlier stage of education, like pursuing an education at a young age? How was that like for you?
For me, it was a bit easier because we didn't own any animals. So I was able to focus more on the school education. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I participated in all the village activities.
Herding the animals, tending the sheep, that kind of stuff.
Of my cousins, of my relatives. Yeah.
Or of your uncle?
Of my uncles, exactly.
Gotcha. And what about like during your high school life? Was it a lot more easier for you then?
High school was very challenging.
Challenging?
Because you are going from this remote village to a Mandafara, a town. And while you're going to elementary school, middle school, you are commuting back and forth, and you live at home. Your parents take care of your, of your food and everything.
Right.
But in Mandafara, you have to cook your own food, and maybe even gather wood for cooking, and maybe even study under the street light, because, yes.
Oh, wow. Who am I to complain?
So it was very challenging for me, and wasn't even sure I was going to continue high school. So I heard that the Peace Corps sometimes hire someone to help them as a helper. So I actually talked to them and told them that I would like to apply for a job there. They took me in. So I really didn't have to worry about, all the difficult life.
So you became more of like an intern with them?
Yes, and I helped them and they helped me.
What were the things that you would do when working with the Peace Corps?
Basically running around shopping and translation, any question they would have with the culture, that kind of stuff.
And what would they give to you in return?
I lived there, I ate there,
They
so
provided you with
everything was
food?
taken care of, and I had, I think I had a pocket money, I can't remember how much it was, but for me, it was not about making money, it was really about being able to go to school without worrying about finances.
And having the basic necessities and whatnot.
Right.
Gotcha. And after high school, you did mention that you were a foreign exchange student and you came into, what state was it again?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, okay. And what year did you come into Wisconsin?
In 1966.
And what high school was it?
The name of the high school?
Yeah.
It's called D.C. Everest High School.
D.C. Everest High School. So the year that you came in was 1967, and as far as I could remember...
66.
66? Sorry about that. And I remember during that time, it was a very pivotal history for Americans with the rise of the civil rights movement. So during that time, how were you treated, especially as a person that wasn't an American national at that time, and especially as a person of color?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Even though I was in the United States at a time where there's a lot of civil rights movements a lot of demonstration, a lot of violence. I only saw it on television and
never in real life.
Never realized really, because the American police organization is very well organized. The community is very respectful. They really treat you like a special person,
right,
representing your country, maybe your continent. So they invite you to their homes, and especially in Wisconsin, at least in the school system and in the city, I haven't seen any black person. I probably was the only white person.
You were the only person.
Yeah.
There was no segregation in Wisconsin either.
There was no segregation because I didn't see any other,
African
American there. Mm-hmm. So I was very well received. I didn't feel any discrimination at that time. Doesn't mean there was none, but just the organization was really very well organized and took care of their exchange students.
And very welcoming as well,
and
too.
Very welcoming.
Wow, quite the contrary from what we've heard through, the history of the Civil Rights Movement and how African Americans were treated. So that's really cool. But after you completed that foreign exchange program, that is when you returned to Ethiopia to begin studying at the Addis Ababa University. So what were you majoring in at that time? And when did you begin?
I began in 1967.
1967.
Yeah. I was in engineering for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then I switched into math and physics major. Mm-hmm. So I graduated in 1972.
1972, okay. Wow, well then. After you graduated in 1972, what was your first career that you began?
My first job was really a teaching job at a high school. I was a 10th grade math teacher. Mm-hmm. But then immediately within a month, I got an offer, another job, by an American oil exploration company that was doing exploration, oil and gas exploration in the Ogaden, which is on the eastern part of the United States. So I got hired, I got trained as a geophysicist, working with high-end computers, very specialized computers. So I had 2 jobs basically at that time.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that when you were working with these high-end computers, it was kind of like the gateway for you to begin GeezSoft? Was that what brought you into it?
Of course, yes, because as soon as I saw the computers and somebody programming on them, it just captivated me. That's all I wanted to do. And I continued to develop my skill in programming.
So as a geophysicist, you were doing programming is what you were saying?
Yes, okay. I was also developing my programming skill.
Gotcha. And what were the languages that you were learning?
Fortran.
I'm sorry?
Fortran language.
Fortran.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more of a mathematical
programming language?
Yeah.
Okay. So since you were working with computers, I would like to know, what was that turning point where you went from becoming a geophysicist to becoming a software developer for your own startup company, GeezSoft?
Well, when the military government, the Derg, came into power, just before that, the company decided to close down their operation in Ethiopia.
Before it got nationalized?
Yeah, and they transferred me to Pakistan.
Okay.
They had offices all over the world. Mm-hmm. So I worked for them for 1 year in Pakistan, and then I came to the United States to go to graduate school. After 1 semester, then I was offered by the same company, offered a job in Canada.
In Canada?
Yeah. So it just happened, and then I moved to Canada. Mm-hmm. I worked 5 years for the company in Canada. Uh-huh. And then in 1980, I was offered a job as a software developer here in Houston, Texas.
In Houston, Texas.
So yeah, so in 1980 I moved to Houston, Texas. And that was the beginning of the software development.
So like that's when you became a software developer for the first time.
Yes, prior to that I was a geophysicist. Then in 1980,
you became a software
actually I got kind of my dream job, if you will, and became a software developer.
Gotcha.
At a research and development part of the company.
Gotcha. And I remember from our conversation that we've had previously, you told me that you've encountered this software in Japanese, and that made you realize, okay, well, if there is a typing software for Japanese, then surely there should be something for Tigrinya. So could you tell me more about that aha moment that you had?
Well, actually, it is really kind of strange. I was supposed to fly from Calgary to Houston for my new job. But I decided to drive all the way from Houston to Texas, driving through the West Coast.
Oh my goodness.
I think it was maybe about 10 days drive. I was stopping along the way to see my friends.
Right.
One of the important stops was in Salem, Oregon, to see my Peace Corps English teacher.
John Root.
John Root. I haven't seen him for many years. So I stopped there, and we discussed, and I told him about my intention to computerize the Giz alphabet. And he suggested we visit a computer store.
Was this like a big computer store or like a small?
A small one. This is 1980, so really
that's when the
there was no
started.
IBM PC. There was really just this.
No Microsoft, no Apple.
Apple computer, mostly for gaming, things like for hobbyists. So we visit and we tell him that we are interested to develop our language on the computer and we want to see. And he said, he might be interested in this software. And he showed us a Japanese word processor on a computer. And that was really aha moment. Okay, if it can be done for Japanese, then there is no reason why I can't do it in Tigrinya.
And that's how GeezSoft was founded.
Right. But Japanese is much, much simpler than Tigrinya. I think they have about 50-something letters. And ours is more 200. It's more challenging. Actually.
Oh, yeah. Especially when it comes to Tigrinya, there's like a letter that has like a certain family, like be, se, she, ve. Like, and then you have to memorize how many words per alphabet, like 7 letters?
7 vowels.
7 vowels, yeah. Gotcha. Wow. Honestly, very, very remarkable. So what challenges did you embark when you created GeezSoft, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I think the Apple computer, this is before the Macintosh, before the IBM, was really a basic computer. It didn't have much tools for developing.
The technology just wasn't there yet.
There was no internet, there is no Google.
No ChatGPT.
And not ChatGPT. So here we have these 250-something letters of our alphabet. And here is a keyboard for English, maybe 26 letters, maybe 50-something, including the lowercase and uppercase. So how do you design a software so you can input all of these letters on this limited keyboard?
Right.
That's the first question you have to answer. And I came up with what I called a phonetic keyboard, where the English letter is assigned to a Giz letter that have the same kind of similar sound.
Right.
So for be, it would be the B key. For se, it would be the S key, and so on. And from the vowel, then actually at that time I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Like the numbers.
The numbers to make it easier. So that way, I was able to type in all the letters. Actually, with the system that I developed, you can actually generate thousands and thousands of letters using that method. So that was the first question that I had to answer was how do you input using a phonetic approach. 2 keys one for the consonant, one for the vowel.
So like, say for example, if I was to have the Tigrinya software, if I wanted to type in be, I do be, and then bu is bu, and then b is bi, and then so on and so forth.
And so on. But initially I used 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
And later I updated it into the vowel system also.
Gotcha. So Yemane, how do you feel GeezSoft has contributed to preserving Eritrean culture and language? And from my personal observation, I know that from the software that you created, had it not been for you, there would be no Qadasi in the church. And had it not been for you, we wouldn't be able to type Tigrinya on our computers or on our phones. So beyond that, how do you think it's impacted Eritreans as a society?
I think that it probably revolutionized publishing. In other words, prior to that, people were not obliged to publish material. It was expensive. So we brought desktop publishing to the average person. Anyone can publish books. So maybe we increased the number of books that are being out there published. Also, in the year 2002, when I visited Eritrea, I visited the monastery,
Debre.
I was interested in the Qadasi. And so from there, a project came up to digitize the Qadasi, create a digital, what do you call it, a Qadasi tutorial.
This is for PC first.
This is for PC, that's right, yeah. I'm not articulating it very well, but I can repeat if you don't mind.
Sorry, go for it.
Yeah. So in 2002, when I visited Eritrea, I visited Debre to study the old manuscripts. From there, the church requested my assistant to help them learn the Qadasi, because it was becoming very difficult for the young generation to learn the Qadasi in the traditional way. So when I came to the United States, I researched and developed the Qadasi tutorial, and also Qadasi PowerPoint, which are being used by many churches, Ethiopians and Eritreans at the same time. So you might have seen it at your church.
I have, perhaps through PowerPoint presentations, because usually whenever they do the Qadasi, one thing that I've noticed is that they have the Tigrinya version of it, the English, like kind of like how, you know how like some people they do English in Tigrinya?
Right.
And then you have the English translation of it.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure that you were probably a key role in that PowerPoint.
Yes.
And not just specifically at my church too, but of course across North America and of course in Europe as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or all over the world for that matter too. Yeah. Looking back, what is the one thing that you are most proud of through your journey in GeezSoft? Like, what is the one thing that you look back on and you're like, you know what, I've done something that's very impactful. Like, what do you think?
I think probably the fact that Tigrinya, my software used in publishing books.
Right.
In television.
In television?
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Like rolling, like the scrolling text that you see on the news?
Yeah, animation and things like that, yeah. I also produced a Tigrinya tutorial video. That in the early 90s was used to learn Tigrinya in Europe. It was very well distributed in Europe and the United States and Canada. That was very well designed video. Other than that, it is the Qadasi that I developed. It took a lot of time.
So another thing that you've also mentioned to me before is as soon as Eritrea gained independence in 1993, I believe you were invited over there to help digitize all ministries of the Eritrean government with your software. So could you tell us, like, how was that like in helping bringing Eritrea up to speed in terms of technology?
Yeah, so I visited Eritrea 3 times in 1993, 96, and 2002, updating Gizoft software. And so the government was very instrumental in helping me to train and install, assist the government ministries, and at the same time in private businesses and so on, they were using the software. So I went there as an invitation of the government.
And I'm pretty sure it's spread like wildfire after that too.
Yeah, I remember people were saying whenever they buy a computer, they say, "Get me the computer with Giz installed."
Maybe if you have a PC store over there, you should have like all computers have GeezSoft pre-installed on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and there were also quite a few computer training centers, and they were offering Gizoft.
Like tutoring sessions.
Tutoring sessions along with their computer training.
Because I know that you have to build that kind of pattern when it comes to like trying to type in a letter, and you want to build up that pattern to the point where you're able to do it quickly in the future too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think maybe something that people can learn from this is that if you be persistent in what you're doing, okay, stay on course. That I have been doing it for about 40-something years. Something that I am passionate about, enjoy. And if people can, young people can find something they enjoy, they have passion, I think they should pursue it.
Yeah. And no matter what kind of curveballs life throws at you, I mean, find a way to still be resilient, because it's so easy to be passionate about something, and then once something hits you, you're going to give up.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you've encountered some stuff where you're hit with something, but you still gonna pursue it.
Well, yeah.
That's the word for it in Tigrinya, to continue going forward.
And I remember in 95, I actually quit my job, my geophysics job.
To pursue GeezSoft full time.
To pursue two things. One, to go to graduate school, and at the same time, to continue to develop the Giz.
Number one, that's new, I haven't heard of.
Yeah, and then I found out that I can't do both. So either I have to choose to go to graduate school and just abandon the Giz, or just pursue the Giz, and I decided to pursue my graduate and to continue with Giz development.
That was an excellent choice, because look at where we are now. I mean,
right, so that's what it took, really, to develop the Giz, with the dedication.
In the software. Yeah. Well then, Yemane, thank you so much for joining us. It's really interesting to hear about your contribution to, the Tigrinya software and the digitalization of Tigrinya, and I'm very glad to have spoken to you today.
Thank you. I'm so proud of both of you, really, to see you so much interest in your language and culture. I'm very proud of both of you.
Thank you so much, Yemane.
Thank you. See you.